And you have mentioned that. I just want to come to Ahmed here. And on an important note, it's about the sense of what's happening in the country and looking at the political future, perhaps, of the ruling Jubilee Party. And the Deputy President, William Ruto, is simultaneously apparent to be pitching himself as a candidate in 2022. And en route to that appears to be selling a narrative that the son of a peasant can be the president. But what's questionable about that is that he supported dynasties, what his political allies called dynasties, over the years. President Moi in Kanu, and of course when he supported the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga before the fallout during the Makati Nusu government. However, was it a cunning move politically to fold all the parties and form ruling Jubilee Party when the fate was that after 2017, then it was unlikely for the party to hold, in the sense that it was going to rule the country as per the plan they set out in 2013? And looking at the longevity aspect here in the long term, is it a continuation of the setbacks that Kenya has continued to witness after 1991? Because there has been an increase in the number of parties and players, but there has been no substantial gain in terms of service delivery for the people of Kenya. And that is the uncertain point here economically, because you look at manufacturing, you look at all the other sectors in the country, and the big four itself here of the president appear to be facing an uncertain future with regards to the political developments in the country.
Well, people will ask, do we have parties or we have
individuals,
ethnic census, as PLO will call it? In Kenya, the problem we have is the political party is about who is the leader. It is not the ideals or the values it stands for. It is not the issues it's advocating for. You talk of ODM, you remove Raila, there is no ODM. You talk of Jubilee today, you remove Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, there is no Jubilee. So the idea of making the party to be based on personality instead of, ideals, values,
and policies.
Visions, policies, what it stands for, is the problem we have. How many parties did we have from 1964? I mean, every person in that government has been in more than 4 or 5 parties. Raila Odinga in parliament, I think in 11th parliament, accused Ruto, when Ruto asked that this guy was about 4 or 5 transition from 5 parties, he said he was also in these 4 or 5 parties. So the parties are just tools for assessing power. They don't have any ideal or visionary things that Kenyans will aspire to be part. But so already, as my colleague has said, 2 parties are already coming up. We'll see more coming up. Ruto's team will have. The problem we have as a country is our politicians have not realized that there is a difference between being in power and being a leader. Being a leader is totally different from being in power.
Is that the cause of the political problems?
I think it is, and greed plus greed. Because this country, if even you talk to the young 24 years, 30 years in the streets of Nairobi, they're talking of wealth, cars, big houses,
posh lives.
Posh lives. Does it mean that one, when he gets posh house, is necessarily happy? No. So what I'm saying is, as a country, we have a problem. As a people, we have a problem. Because systems are created for an intended result. When we have the president saying, what can I do? Or he says we will do auditing, can he start with himself? There is someone who was accused of owning how many acres? 500?
Of course, you look at the TSA report and Ndungulang report.
Yes.
There are numerous reports that are failed to be implemented by the same parliament that the president at some point sat in.
Look at the people we have in parliament. Some of them are youthful, but what do we have? They are being accused of taking 10,000 shillings in the women's toilet. In women's toilet, not just toilet, women's toilet. What does that say about who we are? Do we individually have values, ideals? Because if you live in countries, I happen to live in Norway. They are like 4.5 million. Health is free. Education is free. Every child who is born gets 400 Kenyan shillings equivalent of their money. 400,000 at 8 months. When you go to a doctor at 10, he's waiting for you at 9:58. We need to have efficient systems. We don't need people. Kenyatta died. Moi is too old. Others will come and die. That's not what we need. People will come and go. We need systems and how we strengthen them so that they serve the populace. Unlike, this idea that has bedeviled Kenya where people worship literally personalities. So and so, no one is more important than the other in this country. Kenyans have all gone to universities. They have potentials. We have people from humble background who have made it without necessarily being in politics. We have human resource that is very powerful in the region. Literally, our political system, environment is a bit stable right now. But if you're not careful, we might not be competing with countries we are mentioned in the same, centers like Ghana or South Africa. We might not, because of our tendencies to break systems so that it benefits us. Yesterday, I saw Boniface Mwangi refusing to give way to the Chief Justice. That was the car of the Chief Justice. People said it was the Chief Justice. If the Chief Justice of this country can allow to be driven by his driver on the wrong lane, what are we saying?
That was on Langata Road.
Yes, Langata Road. So the best quality that the people look in a leader globally is honesty, forward-looking, inspiring, and intelligent. Intelligent as in you look at decisions that will favor your people, not yourself. What is the first rule of governance? We must all obey the law. All of us. Now, in United Kingdom, the former Prime Minister, David Cameron, took a bus and sat on the floor and went home.
That was in London.
In Norway, the ministers cycled to work.
And in Netherlands.
In Holland. So there is nothing special about having 30 chase cars, 40 bodyguards. What have you stolen? Why do you need 40 bodyguards? What have you stolen? Who are you running away from? The people who are paying you. The taxpayers are the ones paying you from their coffers. Kenyans are among the highest taxed people. So what we need is a country where the so-called politicians look at the interests of because they will not be in power forever. We have seen many people in this country who have been called, the total man, the superman. You will go around Standard Street, you will see them. The power is the office. The power is the office. That's what Kenyan leaders don't understand. The power is the office that has been created by Kenyans to rule delegated power. It is not yours.
Indirectly.
Indirectly. By voting for you.
Yeah, because we are constitutional democracy.
Yes. Now, all those people we thought were so powerful in this country, go to town. You will see them seated somewhere and no one recognizes them. No one greets them. Today, in Demo, the lecturer at the University of Nairobi,
who is an economist,
wrote an article sometimes in 2015 that his phone went silent the day he left office.
Meaning there were no calls coming in.
There were no calls from very powerful people. The call that had a day, between midday, you will have like 200 phone calls from different people with interest, either through tenders, either through jobs, or either through come and drink with us, beer, paying for free. Now, the moment you leave the office, who talks about Moi? In northern Kenya, there's a time you mention Moi, you are picked by CID. Today, who talks about him?
Of course, no.
Even though the country has transformed. So, every Kenyan must know when you're given an office to serve people, the power lies with the office and not with the individual. Okay,
and given that and the development here, Fred Obwanga at the center, in effect, are we saying President Uhuru Kenyatta displaying or failing to display the political mentorship here, in the sense that what's happening in the ruling Jubilee Party, because that is his first audience, he needs to control them, and then the second audience here is the Kenyan people, because he's the president of the republic, and that institution is a symbol of national unity. Has he in effect failed to address both the audiences, and is it apparent that he's beginning to lose the grip in terms of maintaining the political cohesiveness of the party and the economic growth of the country, because all appear to be heading not in the right direction as required?
Yes, thanks for that question. First of all, we used to pride ourselves as a country that we were the biggest economy in East and Central Africa. Okay? You do realize right now we are not, because Ethiopia is now the biggest economy. All right?
And they have a manpower.
Yes.
They have a very active prime minister.
In fact, one of the things, if you want to compare some of the basic growth rates of a country, you look at the cost of power. Ethiopia sells power way cheaper
than we do.
And some of the companies that we used to have around here have closed shop and moved to Ethiopia because of cost of power. So I sometimes look at the president talk about we want to promote manufacturing, industrialization in this country to create jobs. And I wonder whether someone has ever told him, look, you can't achieve that with one of the highest cost of power in the region. You know? If you're a company wanting to invest in Kenya, would you? So some of this talk about Agenda 4, they are neither here nor there. And I'm looking at, this guy has about 3 years to deliver on this thing, and deliver on those 4 agendas.
Can he?
No. I think that those things are just flowers that they put on a table and tell you we want to achieve that. There's nothing there. You know? How do you achieve that when you have, you go to parliament, there's confusion, okay? You look on this other side, you have another guy in your party, and everybody who is supposed to help you implement your agenda is opposing him.
And his party is in shambles.
And his party himself is saying this today, they're saying that tomorrow. Total confusion. There is no country that can progress if everybody is not speaking from the same script in terms of policy. You know? Name one policy today that has been produced by this government and put on the table and is actually being implemented either from the executive to parliament to actually to line ministries. Name one. Okay. None. So my take on the president is you need to be consistent in terms of how you want to lead this country. You cannot say you are leading us that way, but your cabinet members are doing the opposite. You know, it shows that either, number one, they're either doing it on your behalf, okay, or you have no control of the people you appointed in your own government. You have no, you are not even aware of what they're basically doing out there when they leave your cabinet or within their offices or within your own government. And as a country, people, let not someone cheat the government that Kenyans are not watching some of these things. Kenyans are the most intelligent people. They actually can tell that there's confusion in this system. They actually can say, these guys are not going to deliver for us. Okay. So they're just basically sitting and waiting and asking themselves, did we make a mistake?
Okay, and that is the mistake.